I played a little indie game. It's going to be a quick review. It's a game made by one dev. It's called I Am Overburdened.
Okay,
and
I've heard about this.
It's a roguelike game.
Yeah.
Very, very traditional roguelike. Like, it's really basic in terms of art style and all this sort of stuff. It's all, grid tiles, and your characters don't have any real animations. They just sort of bash into each other to do the attacks. But, it's made by one dev. The main sort of hook of the game is that your character's got like 20 slots for wearing armour and relics and stuff like that that give him abilities and tweak his stats, to make you survive better as you go through the dungeons in it. And your aim is to work your way through the dungeons and beat the boss at the end, kind of like Bind and Isaac type thing. You've got 3 floors to each stage of the dungeon.
Yeah.
Work your way through, pick up items, pick up food and stuff which bumps your strength and your luck and your speed and all this sort of thing. So, if your speed's up, you get the first hit in, or you might get 2 hits in on an enemy that's particularly weak. All that sort of stuff. And it's really simple. It's a good example of one of those games where it's like a single guy has made the game. And because you get people who seem to think they know how game dev works, and they think it's just a case of, oh, you just make a character and just chuck it in there and it's done. Like, you get this whole thing, you get multiplayer put in this game in like a week and all this sort of bollocks, having no idea how. They don't actually have any idea how development works. If you're one dev, right, you can be a really good artist and a really good musician and all this sort of stuff and make a really nice looking game, but if you can't code, your game's not going to work. Like, you have to know how to be a good coder to make a solid game. Yeah. So if you're a good coder and you're not a good artist and you're not a good musician, you're not like expert on all that sort of stuff, or you haven't got the time to put into that, you can still make a good game. Like, a game can be really simple. Like, Tetris never needs to be in HD, does it? You could do Tetris in like the most basic form imaginable and it would still work, because at its core it's a really well designed game. All you need to be able to do is be able to draw 7 across grid of blocks and you've got Tetris. But this guy, he's like, based on this, he hasn't got like the most amazing sprite art with beautiful animations or anything like that. It's really, really simplistic. Like, the most of the animation comes on the character is the main character Joey pulling his knife out when you go through the shop. And there's like sometimes a little like squish effect when they go like that. When a sprite gets squeezed a little bit just to give it a bit of a thing. It's all very simple. But with his pixel art, it's only like 16 by 16 pixels, I think, when I look at it. And he still manages to make monsters look like the monsters they're supposed to be. So they look like zombies and skeletons and mummies, and there's like a lamprey monster, which it's always fun to make people look up a lamprey, just because they're horrific creatures and shouldn't exist. They basically look like Satan's fleshlight, or at least the fleshlight he would use to torture people, because I don't think Satan would use it as a fleshlight. He's got Saddam for that. But it's a roguelike games are pretty. There's a million out there nowadays. And they're pretty much the same sort of formula a lot of the time. Some of them decide to have persistence going on, so like Rogue Legacy. This one doesn't. This is like every time you go in clean. When you finish it, I think it unlocks like a nightmare mode, which I haven't managed to do yet, because whenever I get to the boss I get killed. I'm probably missing something. I should eat the potions that are around them, because the potions, usually when I pick them up, they give me bad things. I never seem to get anything good from them anyway.
A bit like Binding of Isaac, like me.
Yeah, there's the only like things I'd really like majorly criticise it on. The music's a bit weird at times. It sounds very MS-DOS, which I'm fine with, but it does sound a little bit like sometimes someone's just jamming. Like when you'd play Music 2000 on this PlayStation, and you were just like bumping notes all over the place because you don't really know how to make music. It's kind of got a bit of that to it, so it's a bit, maybe it's just freeform jazz MS-DOS style, like that. And when flavour text comes up when you collect an item, it has a little bit of flavour text, but it doesn't tell you what that item does, which isn't unusual for roguelike games.
No.
But in most roguelike games, you kind of have to infer what those items do. In this, you have to open a menu and see what it does, as far as stats and stuff go. And there's not a massive amount of items, so I would either say when that flavour text pops up, put the little symbols that show, put the text on there that says what it does, or don't show what that does and make you have to look it up when you're outside the level, so you learn to recognise the items. So then
just have like a have a monster manual outside the actual.
Yeah, there is a monster manual outside it where you can look at what the items are you picked up.
Yeah.
But maybe have it so you don't instantly pick up items straight away. because that's something that happens if you open a treasure chest.
You can hover above it and then it shows you what you got.
But when you open a treasure chest, it automatically equips the item if you've got a space for it. If you haven't got a space for it, because they all have to fit in specific spaces in your 20-point inventory, you can choose to swap them. But I think it'd be better if when you open chests, you're not forced to equip that item. So then you can look at it and go, is this one I actually want to have or not?
Even
before I
pick
pick
it
up.
Floaty text.
Yeah, that would be quite handy. But it is it's only £3.99, I think it is, on Steam, which is dead cheap.
That's very cheap.
And I've played it a few times now. I'm playing for again. I want to get the Nightmare difficulty unlocked. There's quite a few achievements on it and stuff. It's a fun little game. I think it worked really well on a mobile phone.
Yeah.
Because you only need to move in 4 directions. It would literally just need an overlay for going up, down, left and right, on a little D-pad, and it would work.
It could be a Switch game.
Maybe. Everything can be a Switch game. You can put everything on the Switch, can't you? It's all anyone wants now. The Switch is the new Vita, except it sells and people play games on it. Except when devs hear, can you port this to Vita, they don't have to explain it's pointless because no one buys games on Vita. But no, anyway, I Am Overburdened is a solid little $3.99 game. I like those ones that are made by a small team, Missile Cards was. It was only one guy who made that. The only person who was involved in Missile Cards other than Nathan Meunier was the lady who did the artwork for the Steam banner. That's the only other person who got involved in that. But yeah, the dev seems like a really cool guy. He sent me the PNG for the logo, which I needed because I didn't want to sit there recreating the logo in Piscal, because I've done that before.
Do they not give you an asset pack when you request them?
They usually do, but one thing a lot of indie devs forget to do is they forget to give you the logo in PNG format with no background behind it, which is super helpful for Let's Players because, you want your game to be eye-catching, but if the only artwork is one's design and it's got a background stuck on it, everyone's thumbnail is going to look like that. Yeah. They're just going to be lazy and do that because they're not going to try and cut it out. I would have sat there, if you didn't have the PNG ready, I would have sat there and cut and drawn it myself in Piscal, traced over it. Yeah. And then I'd have it and chuck it back in, because I did that with Missile Cards. I did the pixel art of it and gave it back to him, the visual sprites. But
that's handy.
Yeah, but it's...
They put you down on the credits of the game.
No, I don't know if you even noticed. But it's one of those things that, if it's a pixel art thing, I can recreate it. I can't do it if it's not. I can't cut things out. I'm terrible at cutting things out.
It just takes a long time as well.
Yeah, to do it really well, it's a nightmare. I don't know how people do it so well sometimes.
Well, a lot of people use graphics pads, and they're just they
have to do stuff.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, I'm Overburdened. For a cheap little $3.99 game that's out there. It's all right. Give it a go.
Yeah.
Give it a try. You can check the video. I've got a video online. You can, watch it. Meta Gaming if you want. Whatever.